All right, folks. Great job finishing up video lecture 7. Final little thing that we're going to talk about here is finding the slope of vertical and horizontal lines. So previously, we talked about a positive slope and a negative slope and kind of what those looks like and how we can conceptualize them and find those slopes today, specifically with this video, vertical and horizontal lines. So I have an example problem from your ALEKS homework stated down below here, and we'll get to that in a moment, but I want to revisit this conception of slope, what it means. So slope, we're talking about the change in y over the change in x. How much does this thing rise divided by how much does this line run? Okay. Both of these, just this in general, knowing this really well and deeply understanding it helps to keep the vertical and horizontal line straight. It helps to conceptualize them. Without this firm understanding, these can get mixed up very easily, okay? So the first little thing I'm going to ask for you to do is let's draw a horizontal line on the coordinate plane. Let's do, let's just say like there's one that crosses here at 1. Okay, and let's say this point over here, it looks like I'm over 2 up 1, so I'm going to call this 2, 1. And then I'm going to say, oh, it crosses here, this is negative 3, 1. We can draw upon what we talked about previously. We can use the slope formula and actually calculate this thing. But before we get to that, I want to just ask you, what do you notice about these 2 points, right? So with these 2 points, we see like both of them have a y value of 1. The y value is 1 in the first point and 1 in the second one. And no matter what point we put on this horizontal line, that y value is going to be 1, okay? And the y value is our rise. So if the y value doesn't change, this means that this horizontal line would have a rise of 0, right? So if we could write that down, we're going to talk about rise over run. This rise is a 0, right? It does not rise and never will. The horizontal line does not go up and down. Meanwhile, it does go left and right. And in this example, it went from -3 to a +2. That is 5 spaces. But it doesn't matter what that number is down there in the denominator, because 0 divided by a number like 5 or a number like 12, whatever it happens to be, that gives us a slope of 0 every single time, okay? So a horizontal line, right? The y value is constant. Super important there, okay? So if the y value is constant, that means our numerator would be 0. In our slope formula, we would then have a denominator of some other some number. But when we divide that out, we would get 0. Okay, let's go ahead and look at a vertical line now. See what is similar or different about that. So again, draw yourself a vertical line. You can draw the same one as me, but this exercise works with anything. Let's do a vertical line here. Off to the left, it looks like I'm left 2. So let's name a couple points here. This is -2, 2. And let's do this one. This is -2, -1. All right. What do we notice about these 2 points that we've made on this vertical line? And we can do this with any vertical line or any points on it. We've got x values that are repeating. They're constant, right? No matter what point I put on here, that x value would be -2. Okay. So our m here, this time we have an x value. The run, right? A vertical line does not go, it doesn't run. It only goes up and down. It rises a lot, doesn't run. So we should have a change in x, right? The change in x is none. It doesn't change. Meanwhile, it will rise. We may have a number here, right? From 2 to -1, that is a value of 3. 3 divided by 0, this is asking us to take 3 things and put it into 0 groups. You simply cannot do that. You can't take 3 things and put it into nothing, put it into 0 groups. So this slope is undefined. We have a constant x value, which makes our denominator 0. That means we're going to attempt to divide by 0, and that is not a thing that we can do. So we end up with an undefined slope, okay? This happens for every horizontal line. It happens for every vertical line. All horizontal lines have a slope of 0 because our numerator would be 0, our change in y is 0. Meanwhile, for a vertical line, we will have an undefined slope, and that is because our x value is a constant. There is no change in the x value. We will have a 0 in our denominator that results in undefined, okay? Please record that, something of that nature, right? Try to encapsulate the difference between horizontal and vertical lines, 0 slopes, undefined slopes. Commit that to your understanding, all right? Bring any questions you have to class. But I have one more thing. So we've been talking about slopes. One of my favorite thing to talk about in terms of slopes is WVU campus. So WVU campus is covered in steps. We are on a hill where you are walking up and down the steps all the time. So the thing I want you to think about and the thing I want you to bring to class, what is the worst set of steps on WVU campus and why? Okay. Make sure you bring that to class. Great job again. Take care. I'll see you next time.